All right, welcome back to the Plant-Based Fitness Secrets podcast. We are back with another episode with two amazing superstar guests that we're hosting today. We have Tammy and Matthias joining us, who are superstar clients and members of our academy who have really had an amazing transformation, amazing journey. Joining us today to share how it went and what they achieved and what they learned. But how are you guys doing today?
Very good. Thank you.
Yeah, all good.
Yes. It's been awesome to coach you two over the last couple of months because we have we have a few couples in our program that are going through the program together, and it's always my favorite part to see like a kind of a household coming together and working on their health and their nutrition, and also seeing results, pushing each other. We obviously get into all of that, but it's been a blast working with you and seeing your results. And that's why I want to get you on to kind of inspire some more people, maybe other couples out there in the world that are listening to this right now. But before we dive into any of that, I just wanted to ask, since this is a plant-based show, obviously, what made you guys kind of get into the plant-based nutrition, like the vegan lifestyle? It doesn't have to be like a longest story ever, but just like what got you into it and what got you into the lifestyle?
You want to go first?
Yeah, sure, I'll
Okay.
go. I mean, so to be very honest, we went and joined a seminar through our church a couple of years ago. I think almost 12 years ago. It was a lady from, of all places, Ardmore, Oklahoma, so in the middle of nowhere, that did a cooking seminar. And so we went along. It was all plant-based, vegan. It was for 4 nights. And I have to say, I was just absolutely stunned by the variety of the food. You know, she did dinners, breakfasts, desserts. I think it was the first time that I had a pie, which was the key lime pie made from avocado. And you would not have thought that it was avocado, right? It was just unbelievable.
Mm.
Yeah, and anyway, so we went through that for 4 nights, and it went through food groups and how food is processed, and also, the whole animal sort of, you know, culture farming, and you really just had an insight. And I came out of that and basically said, "Yep, let's give it a go." So so I would say almost 12 years ago, that's how the journey started. And then Tammy was vegan before that,
Vegetarian.
or vegetarian, sorry, vegetarian before that.
Mm.
I was still sort of a meat eater, was primarily fish and chicken. I was still doing the yogurts and the cheeses. But yeah, went cold turkey from one day to the next. So yeah. So I think that's
Nice.
that's the journey in a nutshell.
That was how it started.
Yeah.
And then
That's
during the 12 years, obviously, will probably be your next question. Why did we come to you?
Yeah, exactly. I mean, why would you if you go vegan? Shouldn't it be all like sunshine and rainbows?
Yeah.
Yeah, apparently not. Apparently not. So yeah. No, listen, I would say, and again, I'll just go from my end, so obviously if it's 12 years, and you sort of think if you cut out just the meats and the dairy, you actually don't realize on the vegan side, there's also food that's not as healthy, right? Or you mistake some foods being protein and they're really not, they're carbohydrates. And so there's just a lot that I didn't really know, to be very honest, right? And so what set me on the road to try and find a solution was when I did my first DEXA. I think that was in the early 2024. And I went in thinking, oh, I'm vegan, I'm healthy, I'm decently, my appearance is decent. And
Mhm.
then I come out with a visceral fat of over 2 pounds, and that was a shocker for me. So,
Both of
Mm.
us did
you
it.
know,
Both of us were very shocked because
yeah,
we're sitting here thinking we look fit and, we're making a good example to everyone.
yeah. So
Mhm.
it was the visceral fat, and so then started trying to sort of do things on my own a little bit, and then we watched a podcast, and we might get into that a little bit later with how we actually found you.
Mhm.
But then we did a strength test on one of these, and realized that, like, goodness gracious, I'm like as weak as they come, right? And here I am
Mm.
thinking, oh, I'm healthy, I'm strong, I'm lean, I'm fit. There's a part in a movie, The Replacements, that I love, and it's the kicker in the team is a scrawny guy, right? And he says, "I'm wiry." so I always tell people, oh, I'm wiry. Well, I wasn't. I was just weak. And yeah, and then the visceral fat just blew my mind. So
Yeah.
Yes. Yeah, I mean, visceral fat, as if the listener doesn't know, is like one of the unhealthiest fats you can carry around your organs, and you definitely want to lower that. And it's actually quite interesting. I also found that after almost a decade of coaching vegans, that you would think you go plant-based and, you know, like all the fat cells just disappear. But actually, for me also, it didn't happen. Like for me also, I had a lot more visceral fat when I went vegan, as I gained a lot of weight. Um, but for you, Tammy, as well, like when did your shape or your weight kind of become like a problem, I guess, or something you wanted to work on?
Yeah, for sure. Well, as a woman, I would say probably about around age 45, I started to notice things changing and this and that. And I came across a picture from about 3 or 4 years ago. And I was like, oh my goodness, what in the world has happened to me? It was just like, I don't know what happened. But so anyway, Matthias encouraged me to join the Vegan Coaching Academy. And I'm so glad I did. I was a little reluctant, honestly, because
Hmm.
I knew you had to take pictures of yourself and stuff. And I was like, that was like the main thing for me. I was like, I don't want to do that,
Yeah.
you know? Yeah.
Uh, I hear it all the
But
time on our calls. It's like, hey, I'm in. I love it. Let's do it. But like, can we leave out the picture part?
yeah, but it's so important. I have to
Uh-huh.
say, if you do it, just do it. I mean, because you will see it.
Hmm.
Yeah, the pictures just tell the story for sure.
yeah, 100%.
Yeah,
Absolutely. And
I'm
then,
so glad I did it.
and then when you see the changes, it's almost like cathartic, right? It gives you just this, I don't know, it's like a boost, right? You see where you're at and then you see this progression and it's like a kicker. It just gives you that like boost. All right, I keep going, right? Because you do see the changes.
Oh, and the
Absolutely.
regular measurement, taking the measurements is so important as well.
Mm. Yes, 100%. Scale is important too, but
Oh, yeah.
measurements and pictures are even better actually.
Yeah, and that was the other thing, the scale, the weighing every, because I was never like a fan of that. Like,
Mhm.
I mean, it's just almost like an obsession to me to do it every day. But in the end, I learned that it averages out because the way our bodies work, it's going to fluctuate every day, but it's the average you want to focus on at the end of the
Yes,
week. So,
exactly. Well, so what's the key moment for both of you where you kind of realized you need to change? I think the DEXA scan, right? The visceral fat. I think that was for you, Matthias, kind of the moment. Or was it a different moment where you realized, okay, I need to change something?
Yeah, I mean, for me, for sure, the DEXA was, and that's, I'm just looking here at the dates. I have my cheat sheet over here, and it was March of 2024, right? But I've always, I don't want to say struggled, but I've been sort of in that weight range of low 180s, mid 180s, sometimes even to like 188. I mean, many years ago, this is, I was 216 pounds, but that's many, many moons ago, right?
Hmm.
But I was always in that 180 range and just, 36 kind of waistline. But honestly, it was for sure that DEXA that just, yeah, opened my eyes, right? And, I tried it then. So obviously that was in March of 2024. So, still a while before I then actually did join the program. So I tried it on my own and then I did another DEXA and yeah, there was marginal success, but it just wasn't,
Hmm.
it was really like, okay, what am I doing wrong? Because, yes, I'm exercising more now. I'm trying to cut out some of the processed vegan foods, but it's still not happening, right?
Hmm.
And so, but I would say that's it. And then,
Oh wow. So
yeah.
quickly, so you even cut out the processed foods and it
yeah,
didn't
we
really
did.
do much?
Yeah, I wouldn't say we cut them out. We sort of reduced them,
Yeah,
right?
we were looking at, okay, what is it, and I found out in these little veggie bouillon cubes, there was like coconut, palm oil or something. So we were trying to assess every little
Hmm.
angle, like where is this coming from? And so we cut that out.
Yeah, and I think one of the things, even now, to be honest, and we'll say it because every time we do go out and eat
Yeah,
somewhere, we're
yeah,
like, that's what kills us, right? So we still continued eating. We used to eat out a lot more. Um, and now honestly, maybe once, twice on a weekend, and we regret it every time,
Yeah.
most of the times, right? Because it's salt and it's oils and sugars and but yes, so we reduced, but I wouldn't say we eliminated the processed vegan foods, right? But yeah, the oils, and then honestly, we used to look at labels, but as we got further into it, you sort of realize, oh my goodness, there's so much junk even in the stuff we thought was good for us, right? So yeah, so that's all again sort of pre, and then and I'm sure we'll get to when I join, right? Because then we can go from there.
Yes.
But so
you
trying
tried
to do it on my own was, there was marginal improvement, but yeah, it just was frustrating.
Circling back to me, like I have to say the like when you ask one moment, what was the one moment for me? I feel like it was a sneaky like journey. Like this weight snuck on, like where I didn't even like really realize it was happening. But at one point I was 16 pounds heavier when I do the math than I am now. And it's like, how in the world did that happen?
Yeah.
But because it's actually quite dangerous. Now, my visceral fat wasn't horrible when I did the DEXA scan. It was just more being carried everywhere else as extra weight. But I did have that visceral fat as well. So,
And did you try anything, Tammy, on your side? Any diets or any?
yeah, again, the same thing with Matthias. I would try adding in some workouts and just various YouTube people and this and that. And the same thing Matthias said, but yeah, it didn't really work that great.
Yeah, and I would say the one thing, and I'm sure we'll come to this as well, is yes, we would go for walks, but again, they would sort of be, not as rigorous as we are now. I mean, honestly, I'm almost daily at that 10K at least, right? I mean, it's just, for example, the beginning of October, I had some travels and there was 3 days I just couldn't, it just wasn't possible to get to that. But since then, I've added the mileage or the steps back in, and I'm tracking back at an average of 11,000 a day, right? And it's that which as well, you sort of completely underestimate the importance of just getting out and getting those steps in. So,
yeah, just the habit building.
Yeah.
And that's where having someone to be accountable for really was so beneficial.
Yes.
Yeah.
Amazing. Yeah, I imagine it being like the German military. We're doing the 10K steps every day. It's good. It's good. Good to have that
no,
number.
he's so disciplined. Really, honestly,
Well, that's the way it should be. Yeah, I mean, I instilled the same kind of habit into my parents as well, and they're like very rigorous about it now as well. So, but let's talk about how you actually find me or us in the first place. And maybe also forgot to say in the beginning, but maybe giving some context for the listener. Where are you calling in from? Like where are you based? Just a little bit about you, maybe your age, and then we can maybe share on how you actually found me, found us.
Ladies first.
Okay. Yeah. So we are calling in from Atlanta, south of Atlanta, Georgia. We actually live kind of out in the country, and we love it. And so yeah, we found you. Oh, by the way, I'm 52. Kind of crazy to think that because I do not feel like I am, but I am. And here I am. But we found you on a podcast, I think Simon Hill, and we were so impressed. I remember thinking in that podcast, you were talking about how beans weren't a protein. I was like, what? I was like, no, that can't be. But then the way you explained it, I was like, we're so impressed with you. And so we actually followed you on Instagram after that and kind of like just, watched and saw what you were doing on there and stuff like that and became just so impressed. And then,
Yeah. So I'm 55, and on my last DEXA, biological age of 42. So,
nice. Let's go.
Yeah.
That's
that
epic.
was amazing. Yeah. That was, it's little things like that are motivators, right?
but
and
you're
then,
not 42.
No, I'm not. I'm 55. So
let him have it. Let him have his moment.
Come on.
Say, okay.
Yeah. I mean, to where we live, for those that might be familiar with it, but also the area we live in is famous for The Walking Dead. So that series was filmed in where we live. So that's always kind of, I like to point that out. And yeah, so again, as Tammy mentioned, it was on the Simon Hill podcast, and I was kind of sort of shaking my head at that whole beans are not a protein. I was like, what's he on about? And but yeah, there's definitely truth to that, 100%.
Yes.
And then I know, so we followed you then, and I guess at some stage you had reached out to see, if we could chat, you and myself. And, even then it was a couple of things, and obviously a double hernia surgery came into it at some stage before. And so it all was delayed, but I did make the commitment where I said, you know what, I will once I have this all taken care of. And yeah, so the rest is history, right? But, yeah.
Yes, I want to acknowledge
Yes.
for that because I know we went back and forth, and I think we had a couple months in between, but then you did reach back out, and we actually went forward, which is awesome. A lot of people, let's just face it. I mean, I talked to a lot of people. I have talked to a lot of people over the last 7, 8 years, and there's a lot of people who do it, but also a lot of people who just, put it off, and they don't use that moment of inspiration. They don't use that moment of motivation where, let me do it, let me go for it. A lot of people just put it off, and then maybe they never do it, right? So then we obviously have a call. So how did you find that call, like our initial consultation, Matthias? How did you find that?
Oh, so the first thing that I really appreciated is because, generally you get calls from people and it's like this pushy sales tactic, right? Which to me is immediately like, that would have just put me off, right? And it wasn't. It was really more an informative, insightful discussion and how things are done, but there was not this pressure sell. And I really valued that. And it just came across as very sincere in terms of what you do, your program, your belief in the program. And it matched sort of what we had followed, on the various social platforms that we were following you. Um, so yeah, that to me was like, no, it makes absolute sense what's being discussed. The pathway, what the expectations are. So no, I was, and that really also was the reason why when I was then finally able to commit, with having these various double hernias sorted out and everything else, where I said, yeah, let's go. And to be honest, we had looked at other programs as well. I'd had discussions with others, right? And I mean, I remember there was one, and it was honestly this brutal hard sell where, in the end, I had to basically email back and say, just leave me alone, right?
Yeah,
No
that's the
way.
So
one thing I have to say that we appreciated your gen genuine personality, and we just felt very trusting in you. Um, and yeah, for sure. My call like was obviously Matthias kind of pushing me,
Hmm.
so we were yeah, and I pretty much knew I was gonna join. So yeah, my call was good too, but yeah.
yeah, I
Yes,
did the
Matthias is
pressure
also
selling.
exactly. Matthias did the work.
Yeah.
No, amazing. And after the call, were you still skeptical about the whole journey, the program?
I wasn't, because I had already watched Matthias
Hmm.
go through 4 months of it. So I pretty much saw from the sidelines that, it was a worthwhile opportunity.
No, there was I wasn't skeptical, to be very honest, because I think we had probably two calls, um, and then once more after the hernia situation had all sorted itself out. And again, everything you were saying was consistent. You weren't telling me on one call one thing, and then on the second call a different thing. It was a consistent message. So no, part of what I do in my career, and we're not going to go into that, but it's also sort of understanding if somebody's giving me, a bunch of baloney or not, right? So I generally feel I'm pretty good at determining that. So no, there was not at any time any concern where I was like, okay, this is just bogus or no.
Cool. Nice. I'm glad. I'm glad. Well, then once you kind of embarked on the journey inside the program, when did you realize that this time the diet and the program actually works?
I think I'll go first because I obviously joined the program first, right? I mean, in all honesty, it was almost immediate. Um, you know, just from the first sort of trainings that I had gone through, and there was some intensity, especially the hammering on getting the steps in on a daily basis. Um, and then the meal plans that came along with it, which, on that note, I have to say that was phenomenal,
Yeah.
right? So just the amount of meals that we sort of had in the end and the options, and it all tasted good, right? I mean, there might have been one or two where I said, it's
Yeah.
a little tough to make, being
Mhm.
honest, right?
Mhm.
But, I couldn't say that there was a single meal where I would go, yeah, not so good. But in terms of realizing and noticing the differences, it was immediate, I would say within the first week. But what also, and I think this is important as well, right? I wasn't expecting, and I think there was also part of the calls, and then also with my initial call with the coach at the time that I had is, these things don't happen overnight, right? So don't come in expecting that in 1 week you're going to lose 40 pounds and gain 20 pounds of muscle, right? That's not going to happen. And so I was, and I thought that was very good because going back to my journey on my own, right? I used to get very despondent because I was like, I'm not seeing any changes, I'm pushing weights here and there's not, and then after 2 weeks, I'd be like, this is nonsense, right? I think that was a very good messaging as well as like, this doesn't happen overnight, right? But having said that, I was seeing the changes gradual. The weight was coming down,
Mhm.
the waist size was coming down, to the point where
Yours was, I have to
you
say,
know,
pretty drastic.
well, it was drastic. Because also I committed to training 5 times a week, right? So I said I can train or work out 5 times a week. So I was committed to that, right? And I did it. I mean, I think my first deload didn't take place until, I mean, really, I think finally both you and the coach at the time stepped in and said, "Hey, I'm out." But yeah, that's again, everybody's different, but I will say for myself, I'm generally, if I'm going to do something, I'm going to do it, right? When I gave up, this is, when I was still a youngster, gave up smoking from one day to the next, or, when I went from omnivore to vegan overnight, right? That's just so if I'm going to commit to this, and of course, there's funds that you invest in this,
Mhm.
there's the financial side of it. So I wasn't going to mess around with that, right? So yes, but again, when you saw the results immediately, but they weren't these results where in first week I lost 10 pounds or whatever. And I mean, it's also normal that usually your water weight might come down first, and but what really helped the messaging from the beginning with the pre-calls and everything else was don't expect this is going to happen like, it takes time. You've first got to lose the weight, and then from there you can start building again, right? So reduce the calories, be consistent with the workouts. Don't go out and eat, which that was tough initially, right? It really was.
Yeah.
Um, but so yeah, I mean so I would say definitely it was immediate, but not where I would say, okay, I lost, crazy amounts of weight immediately or gained amazing amounts of strength immediately. Um, to the
Mhm.
point where, even now I'm maintaining the weight. I haven't put the waist size back on, and still, okay, now working out 4 times a week. But yeah, so
Yeah.
that's from my side.
Yeah, for me, I would say the first couple weeks were a challenge. We had to adjust my meal plan a little bit in the beginning because it was like, so for me, I would say I noticed about 3 weeks in, things started to go in the right direction. Um, and then even now after the program, I can report finally made it down to 108. So
Let's go.
yeah,
Amazing.
I know. So I've been able to use everything, all the things I've learned in your
Mhm.
program to just continue um, adjusting. And then we have learned to listen to our bodies when we're ready for maybe a deload and these kinds of things. So we just appreciate the
Nice.
whole journey. Yeah, for sure.
Yeah, we'll talk about that more later in a second.
Yeah.
But that's awesome to hear. Obviously, I love to hear that as a coach because that's the goal. Get the result, but also keep them and continue on the journey. So what was the initial goal for each one of you coming in when it comes to your body? So how much weight did you want to lose, or how did you want your body to change? Yes.
You
Yeah.
go first.
Yeah, I'll go first. Yeah, so I would say my initial goals coming in were to lose about 5 to 10 pounds. I didn't have a ton. Well, I didn't think I had a ton to lose, but yeah, 5 to 10 pounds. Because again, I thought I was like pretty fit, but yeah. In the end, I think ended up losing about from start to finish about 9 or 10 pounds from the 4 months until now currently a couple months after my program. um but yeah, no, I was shocked at that because I thought, yeah, 5 pounds is really all I need, and then my goal was to lose 1 to 2 inches in my waist, and also to improve my posture and strength and
Mhm.
muscle tone and that kind of those were my main goals. And I have to say I did accomplish almost all of them. It was tough to, in the 4 months, get to that 108. I think you mentioned you were like thinking 107 would be good for me. So I'll see if I can get there. I don't
Mhm.
know. But yeah, yeah, no, I'm
And
really.
just quickly on that, how long was it ago that you weighed like 108, or
Oh
were this
gosh. Ooh. Probably when Matthias and I met, which was back in, oh, I'm scared to even say 2000. When did we meet? 2009. Yeah.
Oh wow.
So yeah, a long, long time ago. Because again, that sneaky little increase
Mhm.
in weight happened through the years. So yeah.
Amazing.
Yeah, for myself, I'll be honest, sort of my main goal was I just wanted to reduce the visceral and build strength, right? Did I have a weight that I wanted to achieve? I think when I first sat down and spoke, once I was in the program, I said, yeah, I'd like to maybe get to like 165, 166, somewhere in that range. And so just as a little bit more insight, so on January 1st of 2025, this year, I was 181 pounds, right? So just post Christmas and all of that, wonderful, delicious food. So 181 pounds. I joined the program January 13th. And at that time, I think it was maybe, I was like 176, 177. And so at the moment, as of this morning, I'm at 163 point something, right? So significant. I think the lowest I went down to was 158, 159. And I
Mhm.
think that's when we sort of said, hang on, pull the plug here, you need to deload and let's
Yeah.
feed you a little bit
He was
more.
on
And,
the Lux diet.
and then I got to the Lux diet, exactly, right?
The Lux side, I like that.
Yeah, when I then heard, the amount of calories I can now consume, I thought I'd hit the jackpot. But no, so I wouldn't say that I ever came in with like the things were the visceral and the lean muscle, right? And to be very honest, I mean, we just did another DEXA just right after my second 4 months within the program, and I was at point 0.9, I think. So I've come from 2.08 down to 0.9, which honestly I couldn't have asked for more, right? It's just fantastic. Um, and also the fact that, as to what Tammy just mentioned, is now having the tools, right, to know what to do. And again, haven't trended in the wrong direction. Still working out, the 4 times a week, having the energy, eating right, and not going back out to eat like we used to do. And then the steps, right?
Nice.
So yeah.
So yeah, amazing. It's kind of summarize the numbers. Obviously the transformation is more in the numbers, but for both of you it was like 10 to 15 pounds in the end. For Matthias, for you, obviously 158 was the lowest we went, which we needed to do to get the fat like off as much as possible. And then we're obviously able to reverse diet and give you a lot more, a lot more to eat, double the calories or whatever, which we'll get to in a second maybe. But no, it's awesome to see. I mean, I think a lot of people underestimate how much they have to lose, and when they realize, wow, it's actually not 5 pounds, it's more like 10, it's more like 15. obviously while building muscle in the process. So that's obviously included there, which would mean it's probably more weight than that, but because we're building muscle, we're working kind of against it. So both of you also gain muscle. But I also want to ask, did you have any goals beside the like physical transformation, beside the looks that you wanted to achieve coming in? Like health goals,
Yeah, I mean,
activity, confidence, some of those topics we usually hear.
yeah, for me, it was definitely strength because I was noticing like just joint pain, these kinds of things. So, strength, obviously confidence. Yeah, I would say those were
Yeah.
additional.
I mean, for myself, I would say it's far more sort of having energy and clarity. And when I say clarity, sort of clarity of mind, right? Focus. Again, what I do, the work that I do, it is high stress, and it's amazing how, having been in the program, that clarity has come. Just the energy levels, and not sort of where I wake up in the morning and I've got energy, and by 2 o'clock in the afternoon you can pick me up off the floor. I'm consistent throughout the day, right? And just in a good mood and being positive. And I think I can attribute that as well, for sure. That
To
just
me.
you know, just well, that's when you don't want to cook sometimes. No, but just knowing that um, living this way has helped with that immensely. So I would say it was hoping that I would find more energy, more clarity, and the focus, and that came around again. That came around pretty quick as well. That was, yeah, um, I would say that was what I've really taken from it is that energy and that focus throughout the whole day. So
Nice. Yeah, we love to hear that. I mean, that's obviously what we want. Energy is truly what makes life enjoyable and at work, or if you want to go outside and be active. So both of you lost a significant amount of weight. Did you have to starve yourself to lose that weight?
No, in fact, for me, it was like my initial calories. I'm like, how in the world am I going to eat all this? Like,
Uh-huh.
okay, wait a minute, I need to lose weight. I don't need to gain weight. So definitely not. I never starved at any moment for sure.
no, never starved, and didn't have to sort of take a hit on taste either, right? So, or on quality of foods. I mean, just coming back to the nutrition side of the program, I mean, the meals were just phenomenal, right? And I mean, it got to the point where I would bring my lunches into the office and I'm having people stare at me, like, how do you eat all of that, right? Because it's just, why are you as, I don't want to say skinny, but as thin or as wiry as you are when you come in with these copious amounts of food, right? But it's
Mhm.
just like, yeah. So did I have to starve? No, but I obviously did have to undergo the calorie restriction at the outset because I needed to drop the weight. But even at that point in time, it was done in such a way that I had the energy to do the workouts 5 times a week. Um, didn't have an issue at work with, fatigue or anything like that. Um, so again, that showed to me that I was fueling the body with the right foods, even though at a deficit in the calories at the time, right? So
Yes.
yeah.
Yeah, that's the crucial thing. Like anyone can restrict calories and just eat like less, right? But you got to find a way to eat less and still have energy for your workouts, still have energy for your family, still have energy for your work. That's where kind of the right calorie deficit plus carbs, right, come into play, which a lot of people are afraid of still, carbs. But you guys,
Mm.
both of you, have been eating copious amounts of copious amounts of rice and potatoes
Yeah.
and all that.
And I would say that's the other thing, right? When I at the outset, when I said sort of thinking I had an understanding of what to eat and what not to eat, but having a far better understanding of macros, right? And how your carbs, your proteins, and your fats, what role they play, right? Yeah, and to your point, I mean, at times I was having rice where, it's like, this is insane.
Yeah, you did get into some calorie ranges that for the average person will never reach. We have one client in the program right now who is going for the record. I have him at 3,800 calories right now every day.
Wow.
Oh, wow.
And
Yeah.
we might need to go for the 4K, which is
Oh,
super rare.
wow.
Like this has happened maybe twice in 7 years that someone needs that much calories.
Uh,
With the
I'm
goal,
glad that's
obviously,
not me.
Yeah,
to
that's
gain muscle.
hard. I just watching Matthias having to eat, what was it,
3,000.
3,000? Okay. I was like, so much
And
food.
you also want to do the clean way, right? So you could
Yes.
also
Yeah.
have some sweets in there and ice cream if you like to, but I know Matthias has the just the standard to not do that, which is great, but it's extra challenge, I guess.
Yeah. I wanted to do it, in my eyes, the absolute right way, right?
Mhm.
And, and Tammy can attest to this. I probably still have, but, I don't give into it. But I had an extreme sweet tooth, right? I couldn't walk past the ice cream pile in lane in a store and, get a tub of ice cream or chocolates, right? Cakes. I have an extreme, I love it, right? And we now go to the grocery store and we walk through those aisles where there's the freezer, refrigerators filled with all of that.
Yeah, he walks right by
Oh,
him.
couldn't interest me anymore, right? Just now
Nice.
we just came back.
We don't. I mean,
I
yeah.
was going to say we just came back from Germany, and of course I couldn't refuse the vegan cakes there, right?
We did indulge a bit. But
Oh,
he didn't gain
nice.
anything. He didn't gain
Yeah.
any weight we came back and he was like, "Oh, I didn't gain anything."
Wow,
Like,
cracked
we
the
ate
code. Let's
we ate
go.
so much.
Yeah. Yeah.
So was it hard for you to change your lifestyle?
Um, it wasn't so, and I'll give you a quick little story as well, which was after this 4 day, cooking seminar that we went to. Um, Before we went in, I had just gone to a store and bought a big tub of whey protein powder, right? And then we had gone to Aldi and I had gotten myself some bratwurst with cheese inside it. I was really looking forward to that. Came home, I think I'd spent $80 on the whey protein and then obviously the money on these sausages. And I think it was the second night in, I went to the lady and I said, I just bought this whey protein and these sausages filled with cheese. Is that a problem? And I remember looking at me like, just saying, do you want cancer? I mean, it was
Mm.
pretty. And I was like, I came home, I took both items, threw them in the trash can, and that was it.
Mm.
Yeah.
So I think,
Yeah.
yeah.
Yeah. So, but as far as doing it the right way, like
Hmm.
switching our thinking from the way we were doing vegan to the way that you were teaching,
Hmm.
it was not hard at all.
No.
No. But I mean,
But it wasn't
we
hard because we also got help in the program with the meals, right? So those meal preps and I mean, honestly, that really helped. I mean, to at least have a guidance on what the meals could be and how those meals come together, right? From an ingredients perspective, that was just phenomenal. I do know the first week in the program, every meal was a different meal. And that
that
became
was
kind of
tough
like,
for
oh,
us.
that was rough, right? And then we basically did what we would have for dinner would be lunch the next day. And that made it a
Hmm.
lot easier, right?
Hmm.
But having said that, I mean, the whole program, the way it's been built, it's just, if you fail in it, to be honest, this is my opinion, right? If you fail in it, it's because you're not applying yourself
Yeah,
to it.
exactly.
I mean, it's honestly, it's,
Yeah.
it's,
You have to put in the work for sure. And
it's, yeah.
we would always praise you on our calls and everything every week. And it's just like, and you would always say, well, you're doing the work.
Oh,
And
Hmm.
but,
yeah, yeah.
but also the coaches within the program, right? Yeah, absolutely. And I know one of the questions at the outset, when you sort of apply and sign up is, how do you want the coaches to interact with you if you're lagging, right? And mine was
Hmm.
kick my butt, right?
Hmm.
I'm not in here to
Yeah.
Hmm.
slack off,
I
right?
wanted the gentle approach.
Yeah, yeah. Now, I don't think I ever had my butt kicked. Yeah, well, Penny got the gentle approach from you guys. I was the one here back home going, hey, you got to go work. So,
No, that's
so
amazing.
no,
Mhm.
so from that perspective, it was not difficult to make that change from the vegan we were to the
Mhm.
vegans we are now. Not at all.
Amazing. So do you feel like it's sustainable, this transformation? Like the weight, is it staying off? Is it sustainable? The lifestyle, is it sustainable?
Yeah, 100%. Yeah.
Yeah, I mean,
With that said, you can easily fall back if you let yourself, you know what I mean? Like, but we have the tools now, so it's just a matter of sticking with it and supporting each other.
I would say in my case, it was critical that I went in the program as long as I did, right? Um, I think if I had not done that, it would have been a little tougher. But I'm also here gonna give Tammy sort of the kudos because, you know, her standing, making our meals for us, and I don't want this to come across as wrong. You know, I come home from the office and it's late in the day. I'll be honest, I don't necessarily want to all of a sudden start cooking meals, right? So, and Tammy was very supportive from that perspective, right? And it's some before Tammy joined the program, then it was also, gosh, now we've got to try and cook two different types of meals because, so I will say that was a big having a partner. And I think you recently just put something on one of your Instagrams out there,
Mm.
right? The power of having a partner supportive of what you're doing is incredible. It's
Mm.
absolutely right. So I will give kudos to Tammy on that for sure, right? But to your question, um, do we feel like it's sustainable?
Yeah.
Absolutely, right. Like I said, we just came back from Germany. I actually lost zero point 0.4 of a pound. I just want to be very
Right.
correct,
Okay.
right?
Sorry. Yeah. Thought about that.
Right. Um,
Mind you, we did walk a lot for sure.
yeah, well, we
But
just kept up with
indulged.
everything, right?
Honestly, we
Yeah,
did
Mm.
indulge in every single meal, breakfast, lunch, and dinner, every
yeah,
single
Wow.
day for 10 days.
yeah,
Yeah.
yeah.
Oh, wow.
But we got the steps and we were active, I mean, I
Yeah.
think one of the days we had close to 26,000 steps, right? So it is sustainable, and it's sustainable not where you feel like, oh, this is a slog. That absolutely it's not, right? I actually enjoy getting up in the mornings and being down in the gym and doing my workout, right? Um, I enjoy the meals. I enjoy going out for a late afternoon, evening walk when I'm home, right? So it's not a slog either.
No.
So
Yeah.
Amazing. That's great to hear because that's in the end what matters most. Can you sustain this for the rest of your life? And I think also the muscle both of you built is also plays a part in you sustaining the results because that's what happened probably. Obviously, you were very active, but because you build muscle mass, now your metabolism is faster. So if you go on walks, you'll burn more calories, you burn more fat, and then you can eat out, and then you can come back from vacation and look the same or even look better or have less weight on the scale. So I was curious, how did the people around you react to your transformation?
You probably had more because see, I work from home, so it's like all the people see is like from here up every day.
Hmm.
So, but yeah, you're
yeah, it's interesting. So for sure, people noticed, my drop in weight, right? But when I say drop in weight, I didn't, and there's a German word for it, Hungerhake, right? I didn't look like I was like just,
Yeah.
everything was drawn in and I was, just skin and bones, but a healthy reduction in weight. And to be honest, it's quite funny. I've actually had people in the office approach me like, how am I doing this, right? Or, one of my colleagues that used to be on my team when I previously was in another department at this company, had came back from the doctor, had cholesterol issues and stuff, right? And all of a sudden, these people are coming to me and saying, like, okay, what's all this about, right?
Hmm.
So it's been taken positive. Um, I will say when I see my family in Germany, they just have this different mindset, like you got to have meat and bones on you. And it's like, oh, you need to put on weight and you need to eat more. But no, overall, it's been absolutely,
yeah. And when I do go out, I have to just say, like, I keep my grandson on Mondays and Fridays, and I'll take him out here and there. And I cannot tell you the amount of times people think he's my, they're like, you're not, you're the grand, So
Hmm.
yeah, from
Yes.
that perspective, yeah. So that makes me feel good. But
yeah,
yeah.
yeah, it's been absolutely all round positive. Yeah. Yeah.
Amazing. So what do you think? Why are some people maybe unsure about contacting us or applying?
probably there's a lot of the social media is so saturated, I think, with so many different programs and this and that, people trying to do this or, and I think people are probably a little bit skeptical from that perspective. Yeah.
Well, and it happens to us a fair bit, right? It's that age-old question, how are you getting your protein? So people
Yeah.
have this
Yeah,
fear
that's true.
that when they go plant-based vegan, right, that you're going to starve, right? And you see these on social media, these comparisons, you know, broccoli only has and it's like, okay, but you're not comparing the right protein versus the other protein, right? I mean, you've got to compare apples to apples. And to Tammy's point, I think that's where a lot of people they're on social media and they see a lot of this. Most of it's just nonsense, right?
Yeah.
And then it's just this fear mongering, like, well, yeah, I'm going to be weak, I won't grow muscle, and I think that's really what it just points down to, right? Um,
Mm.
Maybe it's also it's an investment, right?
Mhm.
And I know you've put that out there many times, and it's very
Mhm.
true. And I think that was one of the factors why I then decided to also do this. I could have said, well, no, I'm just going to go along and do my own thing.
I'm going to consult Chat GPT to make a program for me.
But down the road, I'm probably going to be, paying medical bills because I'm just not healthy. Whereas if I do this, I'm really putting it in my own hands, right? So I think it's an investment in your health, and you can choose not to do it. And in all likelihood, you might down the road be paying higher medical bills for, blood pressure tablets or whatever, right? So it's an investment. And I think that might also be just sort of, it's an investment. You've got to just be willing, and I'll say to Tammy, and I'll say this to colleagues at work. It's like, how much money do you spend on a weekend going out drinking, right?
Yeah.
All right. And if you stop that and you put that aside for 5 months, you've probably got the money for the program, right? It's
Yeah.
priorities, right? So.
Yes. Amazing. I love that. Yeah, health is wealth. I always like to say that health is
Yeah.
wealth. And in the US, you are paying, you have to pay if you have any health issues, diseases. I have a whole list of like numbers, but it's very high. Always in Europe, it's a bit different, but still, you still pay, right? So
Mhm.
a mentor always used to say, you can pay now or you can pay later, but later the price is always greater.
Oh, that's a
Yeah.
good one.
Yeah.
That one also
Yeah,
Yeah.
hits. Um,
yeah,
Spot on, right?
spot on
Spot
for
on,
sure.
for sure. Yeah.
so like going off of that, what are some requirements you think someone should bring when they want to work with us?
The willingness to follow the meal plan 100%. Make the time, get off your phone and use that time to put toward meal planning. Yeah, just the meal plans, the exercises, just bringing that desire, the motivation to get those done. Yeah, just you have to change your mindset for sure.
Yeah, you have to bring commitment, right?
Commitment.
If you
Yeah.
don't bring the commitment, and I think I mentioned this to you on our weekly catch-up calls and to coach as well. I mean, in the end, I'm I'm making the commitment. I'm investing the funds, my time. But if I'm not really committed to it, I'm wasting my time and I'm wasting your time, right? So it's like, no. So yeah, commitment. I would say
With that
commitment.
said, the way the whole program is set up through the app that you have that you use, everything, I just really appreciated how organized everything was. So, yeah, we have to put in the work, but it also was made quite easy in a sense, the way everything was set up.
Yeah,
Nice.
100%. Yeah,
Yeah.
Yeah,
100%.
that's important. It needs to be easy and needs to be seamless to fit into your life. So last question, are there any things that you guys can do now that you maybe couldn't do before?
I mean, just having overall more energy, I would say, to do things and, the walks, like we take long walks around the lake kind of near our house and it's not a chore anymore. It's, enjoyable and yeah. for sure.
Yeah, for me, I would say it's definitely the daily energy. Look, I get up in the mornings and I can go, right? And some people are not morning people, but I get up and the engine's going, right? So yeah, this honestly,
Yeah.
Yeah.
Life is good.
Amazing.
it's good. Yeah,
Life's good.
life is good. I mean, I always have a little saying that if something's not good, it's usually just a first world problem, right? So it's, I mean, life is good.
Yeah, I
No
wish
complaints,
podcast
right?
listeners could see you through the screen right now. Like I can see you, but both of you look vibrant and healthy. And it's been a couple of weeks since we last saw each other, since you finished the program. But I'm glad to see you guys looking even better, even healthier, and continue on the journey. So it's awesome to see. And I want to say like big shout out to you. I mean, you showed up, you did the work, and you crushed it. And hopefully now this will be staying with you for the rest of your life.
Yes, we appreciate you and your team for sure. 100%.
Yeah,
It
absolutely.
was the opportunity, really, honestly, that of a life. I mean, I know it sounds kind of cliche, but I mean, honestly, it was the best investment for sure. We appreciate it.
And I can say, you know, in hindsight, it actually far exceeded my expectations.
Yes. Yeah.
So it's not even that you
Amazing.
met my expectations, or it just far exceeded, because I just didn't know that I could undergo such changes. I mean, and I sometimes look back at the photos, right, from when I January
Yeah.
13th joined
Those
to 8
photos.
months later, and I'm like, oh my goodness. I mean,
Yeah.
who
New
is
clothes.
this guy?
Had to buy new clothes probably.
Yeah. No,
Yeah,
he
that's the
did.
worst part of the
Yes.
program.
It was for me to buy him new clothes.
Yeah, so,
I'm still trying to, I haven't fully gone in and bought all mine yet, because I'm like, want to make sure I'm where I want to be. But
yeah, so
It's
they're
the fun part.
unequivocally 100% far exceeded whatever my expectations were. So
Thank you. We appreciate the kind words and grateful for your trust as well. And like I said, hopefully continued gains for both of you. And if you listen to this right now and you feel like you're inspired by this, and maybe you're vegan, you've been trying to make it work, but you haven't been able to get in the shape that you want, and you want to lose fat, gain muscle, and really like take your health back and get in the seat to keep the health also in the long run, then you can go to vegancoaching.com, just my website, our website. We can apply for a call, and the call will be likely with me. And like you heard, there's no pressure. It's just a consultation, look at where you're at and where you want to go. And yeah, we can help you out and maybe see you in a program. So, but thanks so much, Tammy and Matthias.
Yep, thank you.
Keep up the
thank
good
you.
work.
it was fun being on. Enjoyed it.
Yes, good stuff. And listener, thanks for listening. And we hear each other in the next episode. Peace out.